Ever wonder how cybersecurity pros actually track down ransomware gangs in the absolute deepest corners of the internet? Well, let's dive right into this explainer where we're going to demystify the entire process of open source intelligence and figure out how to safely navigate the dark web. Whether you're looking into cybersecurity, fraud investigations, or honestly just want to understand how professional threat analysts operate day to day, this is completely designed to take you from the very surface of the internet all the way down into its hidden encrypted networks.
Now, just like any real-world investigation, we need a rock-solid standard operating procedure. So here is our mission briefing. We'll be covering the foundations of OSINT, preparing a secure workspace, essential open-source tools, navigating the dark web, identifying cyber threats, and finally, ethics and safe practices.
Section 1. Foundations of OSINT. Orientation. We're going to begin our descent into the deep by establishing exactly what it is we're looking for. Before we can track ransomware or analyze leaked data, we really need to understand the fundamental language of intelligence gathering.
To kick things off, let's ask a fundamental question. What actually happens when raw data transforms into real intelligence? You see, the internet is literally flooded with terabytes of documents, emails, and databases. But having access to a massive data dump doesn't mean you automatically have intelligence. There is a totally vital process that happens in between.
Think of it like this. Data is really just data until it's systematically gathered, processed, and analyzed. Open source data? Those are your raw ingredients, like a random IP address or a leaked password hash, which is basically just a scrambled cryptographic version of a password. Then we have open source information. That's when you process that data, like grouping together all the usernames that match one specific email. But open source intelligence, or OSINT, that is the final baked product. It's the analyzed, actionable conclusion that tells you for sure a specific threat actor is planning a cyber attack.
And this is what we call the iterative OSINT cycle. It perfectly illustrates how every single piece of analyzed data continuously drives the next phase of our collection goals. You collect your initial data, you analyze it to find connections, and boom, those connections point you toward brand new targets. It's a constant loop. But before we even think about starting this cycle, we absolutely have to talk about safety.
Section 2. Preparing a secure workspace. Suiting up. Before we go any further down the rabbit hole, we must establish a secure workspace to avoid catastrophic exposure during our investigation. The internet, especially the underground internet, is actively hostile.
If you just wade in haphazardly, you aren't just risking your investigation, you are putting your entire network at risk. There's a stark contrast between dangerous real-world operational security failures and true professional OPSEC. Get this, instructors have literally witnessed police officers using their official patrol laptops to search Facebook for suspects. I mean, that is a recipe for disaster. Good OPSEC means using an isolated virtual machine. Essentially, this is a disposable computer within a computer running inside your main host. If you accidentally click a bad link and malware infects your virtual machine, no problem. You simply delete the machine, clone a fresh one, and your actual computer remains perfectly safe.
Section 3. Essential open source tools. Gathering the gear. All right, with our cover maintained and our workspace secured, let's look at the gear we actually need to map out a target surface. Professional investigators don't just use standard search engines. They use highly powerful tools designed to scrape the technical fabric of the web.
This is how we build our tactical approach, specifically by using the MITRE ATTK framework's reconnaissance stage. If you're not familiar, MITRE ATTK is basically a globally recognized playbook of hacker tactics. In this very first stage, we methodically search for vulnerabilities, exactly like an adversary would. We're actively scanning IP blocks, which are basically neighborhoods of internet addresses. We're analyzing domain properties, mapping out trusted networks, and collecting hardware and software configurations. Ultimately, we want to know exactly how an organization looks from the outside, peering through the eyes of an attacker.
It's really like a giant puzzle. The OSINT framework categorizes an incredibly vast array of data points we can correlate. We're talking everything from domain properties to social networks and leaked credentials. When you're conducting a deep investigation, you are pulling from dozens of these different branches simultaneously to build a complete, holistic profile of your target.
To actually pull all that data, investigators rely on a core toolkit. Take Shodan, for example. It's essentially a search engine for the Internet of Things. It finds open ports, servers, and vulnerable devices totally exposed to the web. ZoomEye can actually map out device locations. Spiderfoot automates the collection of all this footprinting data, saving us hours of time. Maltego visually links it all together on a neat graph. And have I been pwned? That allows us to check if specific credentials have been exposed in historical data breaches. The synergistic effect of using these tools together is just incredible. One tool finds a domain, another grabs its IP, and another finds the vulnerable service running on that exact IP.
Section 4. Navigating the dark web, the descent. Now that we've completely exhausted the surface web, we are ready to carefully transition our investigation into the underground internet. We're moving from the indexed searchable web into the hidden networks.
We really have to understand that this environment operates by totally different rules. The surface web is what you search on Google. The deep web is anything behind a login or a paywall, like your online banking. But the dark web is intentionally hidden. It's almost like a sci-fi villain's lair. It uses technology like Tor, which stands for the Onion Router. Tor encrypts your traffic in layers, like an onion, though hopefully with a lot less crying, and bounces it randomly through volunteer relays all around the world, completely masking your IP address and location. Because it hosts anonymous marketplaces and hidden services, you absolutely must have this specialized software to access .onion websites.
And since standard search engines don't work down here, we have to build our own data collection architecture. Tools like Scrapey allow us to extract data directly from these hidden sites, while OnionScan helps us investigate the operational security of the hidden services themselves. We use these tools to parse through dark web search engines like Amia or Torch, searching for specific keywords related to whatever investigation we're running.
Section 5. Identifying cyber threats, connecting the dots. Once we're inside these hidden networks, our objective shifts to actively identifying criminal activities and adversarial tactics. It is a shadowy world of illicit marketplaces, hacking forums, and data leak sites.
But here is the absolute golden rule you need to take away from this. Professional investigators never, ever rely on a single dark web source. They constantly corroborate their findings with surface web data. For example, a ransomware gang might have a leak site on the Tor network where they dump stolen corporate data. But guess what? That same group will likely announce their attacks and distribute files on a surface-level app like Telegram. By cross-referencing the dark web leak with surface web chatter, you build a much more robust intelligence picture. Dark web information alone is rarely enough to establish attribution. You have to connect the dots across multiple platforms.
To effectively connect those dots, we must analyze the specific coded language used by threat actors and verify their claims without ever directly engaging with them. When you're looking at stealer logs, which are basically massive files of user credentials stolen by malware, or analyzing exploit discussions, context is everything. Criminals use heavy jargon. Your job is to extract this threat intelligence, understand the TTPs, the tactics, techniques, and procedures being discussed, and then verify it against what you already know from traditional OSINT sources.
Section 6. Ethics and Safe Practices, the Return. Finally, we must conclude our investigation by turning our collected data into actionable intelligence, while remaining strictly within legal boundaries. This is where the art of the investigation truly meets the rigid structure of law and ethics.
A structured, repeatable workflow is exactly what transforms raw underground data into a professional intelligence report. You always start by clearly defining your objectives and threat model. You boot up your isolated virtual machines. You discover your sources, collect the evidence, and carefully preserve your artifacts, using screenshots, timestamps, and file hashes to maintain a pristine chain of custody. You correlate the dark web data with surface OSINT, build a timeline, and finally, present a professional intelligence briefing to your team. That is how the pros do it.
I want to leave you with this vital reminder. As investigators, our purpose is to observe and report, never to participate. The dark web presents a formidable challenge, and the misuse of these techniques carries severe legal and ethical risks. You are there to gather intelligence, not to buy illicit goods or interact with threat actors. The tools of OSINT give you a flashlight into the darkest corners of the internet. But when you shine a light into the dark, are you truly prepared for what might look back? Stay secure, stay ethical, and keep learning. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.